Hey friend, welcome to Receipts and Reflections After the Hustle. This is a space for real conversations about life, business, healing, motherhood, and growth. I'm Charlisa, and I've lived enough life to know that hustle might get you started, but reflection is what helps you evolve. Some stories come with receipts, because y'all know I keep me some receipts. Some come with lessons. Either way, you're safe here, friend. So take a breath, get settled, and let's talk. Hey, my friend, my bookie boo butts. Welcome back to Receipts and Reflections After the Hustle. Now, before we get into today's episode, I need to say something very clearly, but very gently. Struggling financially does not mean that you're lazy, especially in today's times, because we all know that we are somewhat in one way or the other being affected by, our current administration. And, times are a little bit different. Some of us are feeling affected a little bit more than others. So I just want you to be assured it does not mean that you're lazy. It also doesn't mean that you're irresponsible. And it does not mean that you lack talent, education, or knowledge. This episode right here is not about shaming anyone. It's about naming something that a lot of people are living with without even realizing it. Today, we're going to talk about money trauma. And when I first heard that term, y'all, now what the hell? But okay, follow me. I need y'all to stay with me. And if you've ever wondered why you keep making financial decisions that don't match who you are now, this conversation's for you. So take a breath with me before we continue, okay? Practice your good breathing. Remember, from the diaphragm. Okay. Now, money trauma is not talked about enough. It just isn't, especially not in certain communities. And that's partly because people think trauma has to look dramatic or extreme. But money trauma is not about how much money you have. It's about how your body learned to respond to instability. Money trauma forms when money was unpredictable, survival depended on constant vigilance, financial stress was chronic, or basic needs were threatened. For instance, I had to realize through a lot of help, a lot of therapy, that I did have a nice bit of money trauma. I have had situations that have happened in my life that whenever it boils down to, money was the root of that. I was a mother at 17, so I had to realize that I definitely went through a lot of struggles, and I learned to kind of operate as that 17-year-old mother, not knowing where the next was going to come from, being in situations where there was too much month at the end of the money. You just go through certain situations and it leaves a mark on you. And that, for me, I had to realize that was very much money trauma. And that's something that I feel like a lot of us have gone through or are going through and may not identify. It's really not just about numbers. It's about fear. It's about urgency and control. Money trauma teaches your nervous system one thing: there's never enough, and I'm never safe. And I didn't even know money trauma was a thing until therapy. I had no language for it. It was like, what? I just thought I was being responsible. Or I had talked myself into thinking that was what being responsible, right? But then I realized this. I was still making financial decisions as a 17-year-old single mother, even though I was no longer her. I remembered what it felt like to be evicted. I remembered not knowing where the money was going to come from. I remembered the panic at the end of the month. So even when I started making more money later on in life, my body still didn't register safety. It registered relief. And relief is what's going to make you rush. Relief makes you overcommit. Relief makes you spend too quickly. Relief makes you say yes out of fear instead of strategy. Or strategy. I can talk. Y'all. Strategy. That's money trauma. Y'all see, I'm still traumatized. I can't even talk. So, money trauma. Bless. Somebody say a prayer real quick. Okay. That's what money trauma is. Money trauma often shows up as like waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? You don't trust good seasons. You're like, I know it may be good. This is, I've reached all of my goals, or I'm at this point in life where I've got a little bit of extra cushion, but I don't trust that. You don't fully know how to even enjoy stability. You're always bracing. You're always walking around with this fear of impending doom, right? And even when money's coming in, you're thinking, oh my God, what if it stops? What if this is temporary? What if this is a fluke? What if I mess this up? So instead of building calmly, you rush. You chase income instead of building your systems. And that's not ambition, that's survival. And let me slow this down real quick and be very clear. Here's some things that I didn't know back then. Financial instability rewires your whole nervous system. It does. And overworking is often a trauma response. And being somebody who their salon was named Club Shadowbox, trust and believe, overworking was definitely something that I normalized. Panic decisions feel productive, but they also create cycles. And fear-based money choices just continuously repeat old patterns. Now, here's my reflection. This is what I know now. Money trauma lives in the body, not just the mind. Calm creates better financial decisions. Structure feels boring. Remember we talked about this before. I'm a Sagittarius. I'd be bored sometimes. But, it's for the best. But it also creates freedom. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. Safety often changes how you relate to money. Back then, I thought hustle was going to protect me. Now I know that regulation is what protects me. So let's make this practical. You, Buki, might be dealing with money trauma if you avoid looking at your bank account. If you feel anxious even when money is stable, you overspend during your relief periods, you underprice because you fear losing income. This is from my entrepreneurs. You say yes to everything because what if this dries up? You tie your worth to how much you earn. You feel guilty resting when money is tight. And that, whoo, child, I still deal with that one a little bit. So, this is for me too. Now, these aren't character flaws. They're survival adaptations. Your body learned how to keep you alive. It's simple. This is why talented people can still stay broke. Talent doesn't override trauma. Creativity doesn't regulate your nervous system. And hard work doesn't heal fear. And without structure, money trauma keeps you reacting instead of responding. You can earn a lot and you can still feel unsafe, which is crazy, but it's very true. Safety doesn't come from your income. It comes from predictability. So let me offer you a few tools. Not fixes. Remember, we ain't fixing around here. I'm not a Yanla. Shoot, dang. These are just some starting points. So here's one. Awareness without judgment. Notice your money patterns without shaming yourself. Here's two. slow down your decisions. Trauma rushes. Healing pauses. 3, build some boring systems. That means budgets, buffers, and consistency. That's what creates safety. And 4, separate urgency from reality. Ask yourself, is this fear or is this true? 5, get support. Therapy, coaching, or financial education matters. Healing money trauma is also not a solo sport. It's really not. We need somebody to help us work through this. And it's nothing wrong if you do need to go and sit down with someone and have a discussion about this. I was able to find out that there's actually some therapists that specifically handle these type of things. So, if that's what you need to do, I definitely urge you. I encourage you and I applaud you for doing that. So let me repeat this because repetition matters. Money trauma is real. Survival patterns don't disappear just because you make more money. Also, friend, you're not broken. You learned how to survive. And you are allowed to learn something new. Okay? So before we close, before we get up out of here, I want you to go ahead and grab that book. You know a book. Don't play with me, okay? And before you are done, I need you to go and sit down with yourself. And you can also DM me because I would love to have this conversation with you. Or you can reach out to me, leave some comments in the show notes because I would love to keep this conversation going, okay? And let's talk about it. Or talk to yourself, however you feel comfortable. But I want you to know, which financial decisions are you making from an old version of yourself? Not who you are now. And what would it look like to choose stability over urgency? Boo-boo, you don't need more hustle. You need safety, structure, and patience. And you need to give yourself some grace, okay? I'll be here next Monday, and I'll see you there. Have a great week, friend. Before we close, thank you for sharing this moment with me. If something from today's episode stayed with you, whether it be a thought, a feeling, a reflection, I hope you give yourself space to sit with it. These conversations are meant to meet you where you are, not to rush you, and definitely not to fix you. Be gentle with yourself this week, sis. I'll meet you right back here next Monday. This is Receipts and Reflections After the Hustle, because after the hustle, we slow down and we choose peace.